Financial markets. Have we started anything in this? Nothing? So we have seen the financial intermediaries, right? We have seen the financial intermediaries. What is the work of financial intermediaries? What do? They take money from the surplus. People who have surplus money, they take it, and they are going to give it to people who have, who are in need of money. That's what the financial intermediaries do. So what is this? What are these financial markets? It includes financial intermediaries as well. However, in financial markets, our concentration would be on, establishing a direct link between those people who want the money and those people who have excess money, right? So that is why these are called financial markets. So, in fact, what we can say is, what we look at is disintermediation. There will not be any intermediary here, right? So there is a direct link established between a lender and the borrower. So intermediary का काम बहुत कम होता है, right? Here we study about the stock exchanges, that is the stock markets, and then various other instruments, bonds, shares. ये सब क्या होता है? We are going to look at these things. So, what is it these people are going to earn? They are going to earn it in two ways, right? The lenders here are going to earn it in two ways. One is by the way of dividends or by the way of interest. So, the one which earns you dividends, the market where you earn in terms of dividends is called the equity market or the share market as it is called. So here it is about dividends. And the other one where you earn by the way of interest, that would be your debt market. You earn by the way of interest. Right. So the classification, one way of classifying the financial markets is what? Equity markets and the debt markets. There is another way of classifying it. What is the other way? These markets can be either organized or non-organized or unorganized. What is the difference between the organized and the unorganized markets? Yeah?
So in organized we know the workflow, people are working there.
Here, there will be a regulator. There will be a regulator. In case of unorganized markets, you do not find any regulators. Right? In case of unorganized, you do not find any regulators. Is there any other way of classifying this? Is there any other way? So two ways we have seen. Equity, debt, organized and unorganized. Is there any other way of classifying it? The standard terms also has to say the complex terms. So they don't want to keep things simple. They want to make it a bit more complicated. So they call them, so instead of saying short term and long term, they call short term as money markets, long term as capital markets. Right? So if the transactions in the financial markets happen for short term, they are termed as money market. Right? It is termed as money market. If the transaction happening for a longer term, it is called as capital market. So what is this short term? What is this long term? What is the maturity period of these lendings? Short term or your money market involves all the transactions which go for less than 365 days. Anything over 365 days will be your capital market. Right? So three ways of classifying the financial markets. One, equity debt. 2. Organized, unorganized. 3. Short-term, long-term or money markets and the capital markets.
Second is then equity and debt.
Which one?
Equity and debt.
Equity and debt. So, what is this all about? The financial markets are all about what? The person who has excess money is going to lend it to the person who is in need of money, right? That is what financial market is all about. So, one way of classification is equity and debt. What is equity about? You lend the money, say I am the company, I want money, right? You guys are people, you have excess money. I ask you money, and what you do is you give me the money and ask a share of my company, right? And when I give a part of my company as a share to you, obviously whenever I make profit, whatever share you hold on that, you earn a dividend. That is your equity market. This person says, I don't want your share. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it as a loan to you, right? In terms of debt. So he gives it to me as a loan. I'm going to pay him regular interest, right? That is your debt market. So you have various instruments in each of these cases. Various instruments in the sense, when I say instruments, it only means that there are various avenues in which you lend. Debt may be बहुत सारे instruments हैं, equity may be बहुत सारे instruments हैं. Likewise, you can classify them under short term, long term. You can classify them under organized and unorganized. So the easy way of understanding is, easy one to understand is organized and unorganized. Organized में क्या होगा, जो भी regulated है, whatever is regulated, whatever the instruments which are regulated, they are all organized, right? And unorganized will be something which is not regulated at all. First we'll look at the unorganized part, and then we can move on to the rest of the things. Unorganized में क्या क्या होगा? What will you have in unorganized? Heard of hundis? What are hundis?
Temple hundi.
Oh no.
No. Sir, these are piece of paper they are given to the.
I thought that you will not say it, but you
Sir,
said
these are
it.
piece of paper over which it is written. It is like a P-note which is given on behalf of like you can exchange.
Yes. So it is more like a bill of exchange, if you ask me. It is more like a bill of exchange. What happens here? Suppose you are about to travel from one place to another, right? You have 1 crore rupees, and you want to take that money to another place. So you are traveling from here to Delhi. So you are going by train. 1 crore rupees leke jana hai. So you do not trust the Indian railways, right? So why? Because robbers may be there, dacoits may be there on the way. So for that reason, what you do, you go to this agent, hundis. You go to this person, and this is more like an institution, small shop type thing. You go there, you give this 1 crore rupees, and what he does, he gives you a bill. एक bill दे देगा तुझे. So you take that bill, and he gives the point of contact in Delhi. You go to that person in Delhi, give this bill, and you take your 1 crore rupees. So 1 crore rupees पूरा नहीं देगा, थोड़ा सा कम देगा. Why? Because transaction cost है ना. So that is your hundis. That is your hundis, right? And next, there are other people like shroffs, chettiars. What are these people? What do they do? What is the work of these people? Marwaris, what do they do? Isn't it? They keep something as what? A collateral and lend you money. Right? So these are what? Shops, stadias. This is one class. They are a bit organized family wise. Right? They are a bit organized. And next you have money lenders. This is a different class. We can say these are a different class. Why? Money lenders, you see a plethora of money lenders wherever you do not have banking penetration. बैंकिंग का पेनिट्रेशन कहाँ पे भी कम है, especially the rural areas. You find a lot of money lenders. So what do these people do? They give you at a high interest rate. Generally, they do not take collateral also in most cases, right? So they lend you at a higher interest rate and they use extortionary measures, isn't it? So interest rates are extortionary. So there is a particular word they use where they charge high interest rates. What is that called? Is there a particular word where they charge very high interest rate and forcibly collect the money from you? Is there a particular word? Particular word? No? Very high interest rate. Extortionary measures to extortion करते. हाँ, usury. Very good. Usury. Right? So this is what is followed by most of the money lenders. So this is completely unorganized. Nobody controls them, isn't it? Nobody controls them. It so happened in Karnataka that these money lenders had lent a lot to most of the farmers and people, poorer people. So when they had lent it, they had to collect the money back. They were using force in most of the cases. Last year, drought situation था, तो it came to the notice of the government that when these money lenders were forcing these people, most of the people committed suicide. So इसलिए government ने resolution pass कर दिया कि if anybody is forced to pay back to the money lenders, go file a FIR. So those people who had lent at very high interest rate, जो money lenders थे, उन सबको तो they went into losses basically. Most of the people have went into losses who have lent money without licenses, right? So this is your unorganized market. We'll come to the organized market now. So what is money market? Money market क्या होता है?
Short term.
Hawala also comes here itself. What is money market? Short term, less than 365 days. Long term को capital markets बोलते हैं. What we do is we'll just look at the instruments, right? We'll look at the instruments one by one, and we'll see where it fits in. Whether it fits in the short term or long term, whether it is a equity or a debt instrument. We'll go one by one. Right. First is the treasury bills, T-bills. Remember, I have been telling that government securities most of the times. There are three things you need to know. One is the T-bills, another one is the CMBs, and the other one is government securities. All the three have, different meanings. Treasury bills have particular maturity periods, specific maturity periods it has. The CMBs do not have no specific maturity period. No specific maturity period. And then you have the government securities. So the government securities, they have a rather specific period. However, there is a difference. The T-bills and CMBs, all the three though issued by the government itself, the T-bills are for 14 days, right? It is for 14 days, 91 days, 14, 91, 182 and 364. These are the maturity periods with which your T-bills come, right? They come with a maturity period of 14, 91, 182 and 364. Are these instruments debt instruments or equity instruments? Obviously debt instruments. Maturity period, so they will be lent for, so the government issues a T-bill which has a maturity period of 14 days or 91 days or 182 days or 364 days. So this is called a T-bill. What about CMBs? CMBs का क्या होगा? Maturity period कितना होगा? Less than 90 days. It can be whatever period. It can be 25 days, it can be 29 days, whatever period. So these are called what? CMBs, cash management bills. We have come across cash management bills already. Where? We have come across CMBs already. Where? Don't tell me I have not mentioned. I have mentioned 29 days ka or 35 days ka. Remember the numbers at least, 29 and 35 days I have mentioned. Notes में है.
For demonetization you have told.
हाँ, in demonetization. Notes पढ़ा है? Notes में है. If I have not mentioned in the class, ये तो notes में है. 29 days or 35 days का CMBs were issued. When? During the time of demonetization. After demonetization, why? Why were they issued? Under which scheme? Market stabilization scheme. What is market stabilization scheme? Out of the blue. What is market stabilization scheme?
The RBI